Welcome back, guys. Topic today, somewhat related to the How Leasing Works video, and this is actually more about the settlement itself. And the reason it's related to the How Leasing Works video is because understanding how leasing works and understanding how to go through your settlement line by line and understanding what each and every charge on your settlement means and what it's for can help you in the long run. And you're going to get a email, or you're going to be able to go and look on Prime's website, depending on how you set it up. Every Thursday morning they'll send that email out, or they'll make it available somewhere around 2 a.m 3 a.m, something like that, on Thursday morning. And this is directed not only at lease operators, but this is also directed at company drivers. The specific example that I'm going to talk about today is pertinent to lease operators, because you're not going to get a charge for a shop bill as a company driver. But there are things that you need to look for and make sure that they are accurate as both a company driver and as a lease operator. So basically, I'm going to put the link in the description again for how does leasing work. You're going to see how you can go through line by line your settlement sheet. And again, it's a lengthy document. The one in the video, if I remember, 16 pages, 18 pages off the top of my head. I'm not going to go back and check. It's not really relevant. The point is, you have a lot of material to go through. You're going to have each individual trip that you run. You're going to have your tank washes if you're in tanker. You're going to have all the deductions off of the truck. You're going to have all the reimbursements as well. And understanding how things are taken away in terms of money that you owe, and how much money you're being reimbursed, and why you're being reimbursed, and why you owe money, and for what individual reason that you owe money or that you're being reimbursed for said money is very key. Now, starting with the trips, it's very important to check against your records. And usually what I do is I save the as a lease operator, you're going to get an estimated revenue message as part of when you get a trip. Do you commit to taking this trip? Here's your estimated revenue. I will save that message until I can and it's kind of like reconciling a checkbook. At the Thursday or Friday, whenever you have an opportunity to sit down, you check and you can compare and it's called an estimate for a reason. They might be slightly off. It may be cents off. It may be dollars off. If it's more than a few dollars off, that's when you can have a conversation with your fleet manager and say why. Just to throw out a number. Why was the estimate $500, and why did I get $490 instead of the $500? That you can have a conversation. But the first thing that I do is I go and I make sure all my trips match up. Let's say, as an example, I had 6 trips, which is, I believe, the number I had in that video. I make sure that the 6 trips are the same trip number. Each trip we have has a trip number. And then I make sure that the revenue is the same. And then I can delete those messages from my Prime app so that I don't have a ton of messages built up. But that's the first thing that I do, is I make sure that I got paid for everything that I did. And the reason that I do that, we all make mistakes. And this video is not intended to point blame. Prime is going to make mistakes. You are going to make mistakes. And you're going to find something one of these times, and you're going to say, holy cow, I didn't get paid for a trip. Prime made a mistake. I did that once. Turned out I forgot to scan the bills for a trip. So it wasn't that Prime didn't pay me for a trip. It's that I forgot to scan my bills. So of course they're not going to pay you. That is your job as a driver, to make sure that those bills get scanned. The deadline is 4 p.m. Tuesday Central Time. So prior to then, like I said, your payroll, your settlement sheet will come out then Thursday. If you get it loaded onto a data card, it's going to be available on Thursday. If you get direct deposit, it's going to be available on Friday. So you make sure that your revenue is correct. You make sure then that everything else is correct. And the instance that I'm talking about today is a shop bill. I had an invoice for a shop bill for $850. And I immediately knew. Now, I've mentioned before that Prime will typically split up some of the larger bills that you incur. And in this case, they had, without me asking, and the reason I didn't ask for it to be broken up is because I did not have a shop bill for $850, but they broke it up for me for $75 payments. And they went ahead and did that automatically. So I had $75 taken out with the balance showing of $851 for that shop bill. So I immediately thought, my truck was in the shop this week, but you know what? The invoice that I got said $0 because it was a warranty repair that the truck was in the shop for. So it was something that was covered by warranty, and I was going to have a bill of $0.00 for that repair. So $850, and it was $851 and some 52 cents or something along those lines. So $850 really stuck out like a sore thumb. So immediately I realized that there was a mistake made somewhere along the line. So I contacted the shop here in Decatur. They were able to pull up the invoice, and it showed that it was for a outside contractor, a company that Prime does a lot of work with, who installs the tank heaters and the inverters in their trucks. And the invoice was dated this past Monday, and I know that I have not had my truck in Springfield since November. I'm recording this on March 30th. Now, I drove in my personal vehicle in January to Springfield, but either way, I have not been in Springfield physically myself since January. I have not had my truck there since November, and my truck has had the same inverter and has had the same tank heater since August of 2015. This is not my bill. So, immediately, the shop here says, well, let's start to do some investigation. I'm guessing that somebody put the wrong truck number, started to look and see what other trucks from Springfield were at that particular shop. Nothing stood out to the shop here. I contacted my payroll officer. He said, well, we have to let the shop sort this out before we can do anything. And then I contacted the individual shop in Springfield, and the shop in Springfield was able to figure out that the day before the invoice was created, if you've watched my truck tour video, you know the truck number that I have is 869061. And you also know that Prime's truck numbers have, there's a meaning behind the numbers. First number is for the make of the truck, so 8 is for an International. Also noted that 6 is for a Freightliner. The second number is for the year, so mine is a 2016. You also note that it is about the time that 2018 trucks are going to start coming out. So if a Freightliner 2018 truck comes out, that the third number is a 9, that means it's a lightweight. So 869 if a Freightliner 6 2018 8 lightweight 9 comes out, that's truck number 061 689 061 instead of 869 061. It's exactly what happened. The shop, independent contractor in Springfield, created a correct invoice that said 689061, and it got to Prime, and someone reversed the first two numbers when they created the invoice to send it to the truck. Now, this video is not to place blame. And like I said, I made a mistake when I had that one trip that I thought, hey, Prime made a mistake and didn't pay me. Well, that was my fault. In this circumstance, Prime reversed the numbers. Wasn't the company who did the work's fault, but somebody just made a simple clerical error, sorry, when they were typing in the truck number for the invoice. Now, it's a very simple fix. Prime has already fixed the invoice, reimbursed the $75 to my truck, and taken away the rest of that bill and sent the bill over to truck number 689061. So the moral of the story is, read your settlement sheet. And again, I have cited 2 examples in this. The third thing is, you have to remember there's a ton of people who are involved in creating everything that happens at Prime. You can't just immediately say it's the payroll person's fault. Payroll person had nothing to do with this particular situation. The company, the outside company that was installing these parts for Prime, had nothing to do with this. Success Leasing had nothing to do with this. In fact, the Prime Decatur shop and the Prime Springfield shop had nothing to do with this. The mistake was actually made in the Prime Springfield parts department. So just think about the number of people involved, and that says nothing for the salespeople who create the invoices that bill the companies who we haul for, who then pay us and pay Prime. Says nothing for the tank washes who get bills and we get the invoices and get paid and all that. So there's a lot of people involved. It says nothing for all of the taxes, the federal highway taxes. It says nothing for the insurance on these trucks. There's a lot of people involved. Mistakes get made. We all make them. Like I said, I've given an example that I have made a mistake, and I've given an example where the Prime Springfield parts shop has made a mistake. I'm not doing this to say they're an awful group of people, because that is by far not the truth. It's simply a read your settlement. Because if I did not catch this, and I caught this on the day that it happened, and it was resolved by 1 o'clock. So I get the email at 2 a.m. I actually did not read the email until about 9. So within 4 hours, this investigation had been done in reverse. Now, if I didn't check my settlement this week, Prime's not going to notice this because they've got 7,000 trucks. And they're not going to go through everybody's settlement sheet with a fine-tooth comb. It's your responsibility. It's very similar to when I say you are your own advocate in terms of training. It's your CDL. It's your career. It's your paycheck. It's your settlement. It's your company. If you don't pay attention, and I didn't notice this for a week, 2 weeks, maybe 6 weeks from now, I say, hey, how come I'm getting billed $75? And they would have said, well, you've been getting billed $75 each week for the last 6 weeks. You didn't notice that? So that's all I'm saying. Pay attention to your settlement. Know what everything means. And again, I'm not saying that Prime is awful because they made a mistake. People make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. If you find somebody who's perfect, let me know. That's my video this week. Read your settlement sheet. Read your paycheck if you are a company driver. Thanks for watching. If you want to come to Prime, check on the link in the description. Click on that. It takes you right to the application. And thanks for watching. We'll talk to you again next week.